Welcome students to Rats and Pathology. These are certain statements for you to follow. Kindly do it. The question that we omit is our university question. A case history. A 15-year-old boy presented with a rapidly growing lesion around the knee. X-ray showed an osteolytic lesion at the lower end of femur. The radiologist gave a definite opinion. After the pathologist's diagnosis, a surgery was performed. What is your probable diagnosis? Discuss in detail the morphological, microscopic, and radiological findings in this case. Add a note on the variance and the prognosis. The breakup of marks is given for your information. Good. The topic I am jumping into is bone and joints. I have done this pertinently because variety is the species of life. And the topic that we are dealing with today can be any of this. These are the subheadings. Kindly go through them. Certain things are important, such as extraskeletal. Before we delve further into the topic, an interesting narration. The Final Diagnosis by Arthur Haley is a world-famous book, which gives a story of a small hospital in which a nursing staff develops a swelling around the knee. Biopsy is taken. The senior pathologist gives a report of malignancy, junior as benign. Slides are again sent for opinion to two different pathologists in different parts of the world. After some time, the reports come. One is benign, the other is malignant. And the senior pathologist musters all courage, gives a report of malignant, and an amputation was done. A thorough study was done on the sample, and the final diagnosis was malignancy. The diagnosis was osteogenic sarcoma. This will be the distribution of the tumor. First, we'll go to the graph. There are two peaks. You find that there is a very high incidence between 10 and 20 years of age. And after an interval, beyond 50 years of age, there is a second peak. So this is called a primary osteogenic sarcoma, and this is a secondary osteosarcoma. And the arrows also, the black arrows denote a primary osteosarcoma, whereas the white, a secondary osteosarcoma. Look at the difference in the bones. About 60 to 70% of the tumors are around the knee joint. Definition. It is a malignant mesenchymal tumor of the bone in which the tumor osteoid or new bone is laid down by the tumor cells. A malignant mesenchymal tumor of the bone in which tumor osteoid or new bone is laid down by the tumor cells. The sites we have already mentioned, the other sites. Flat bones are relatively rare. And this incidentally is also a university question. There are different ways of dividing it. One is according to the incidence, whether it is primary or secondary. Primary, de novo. We do not know any preceding cause. And secondary, when there is a preceding lesion. Another method of classifying can be according to the tumor tissue, histologically. So one is called osteogenic differentiation, another is chondrogenic differentiation, and third one is fibrogenic differentiation. Differentiation means resembling the particular tissue. So osteogenic differentiation, it resembles bone. Whatever be it, in all these tumors, you find that tumor osteoid will be formed by the tumor cells. That is the basic dictum. Etiology and pathogenesis is again part of the essay, and there are three important components: genetic, constitutional, and environmental. Genetic is, it is associated with the retinoblastoma gene. Patients who have had retinoblastoma, who have survived that particular disease, can later on develop an osteogenic sarcoma. The defect is associated with chromosome 13. Remember 13? 13 is an unlucky number, and so we shall remember. The second one is constitutional, in which there can be reactive new bone growth. You find that this is a Saint Bernard, the largest breed of dog, and because of its nature, there is an increased amount of growth and increased incidence of osteosarcoma. Another example will be the Paget's disease of the bone, in which there can be a remodeling, etc., that can happen, but patients can later on develop an osteogenic sarcoma. The third important group will be environmental. People who are exposed to X-ray or irradiation are prone to osteogenic sarcoma. Radium dial painters. Look at this lady over here. She is painting the face of a radium watch. And as these people paint, the bristles of the brush fan out. And so in order to make them more pointed, they will be wetting it with their saliva and continuing with the painting. Such patients are prone to develop an osteogenic sarcoma. And viruses. It has been studied that osteogenic sarcoma can be developed in hamsters, in experimental animals. The gross picture, extremely important and mark fetching. Please see this. We will come to the picture later on also. It occurs in the metaphysis in the medullary cavity. The epiphyseal end of the diaphysis is called metaphysis, and medulla is the central cavity. The tumor is large, it is bulky, it is gray-white. It is soft to firm because of immense amount of hemorrhage and necrosis. But it can be gritty basically because it is a bone tumor. It breaks through the cortex and lifts the periosteum to form what is called as a Codman's triangle. And finally, it infiltrates into the surrounding soft tissue. I have given this picture in a minuscule form just for you to pay your attention. Now it will be clear. It arises in the metaphysis. So this is the diaphysis, this is the epiphysis, in between you have got the metaphysis. The tumor is large, irregular, gray-white, and it is breaking the cortex, infiltrating into the surrounding tissue. And here I find that there is an elevation of the periosteum. Incidentally, we find that the epiphyseal plate is intact. So metaphysis, lower end of the femur, upper end of the tibia, upper end of the humerus. Areas of hemorrhage, necrosis, areas of destruction and infiltration. Please remember this, the gross picture is extremely important. There is a variant called the periosteal or the paraosteal, two different variants. Here I find that the medullary cavity is free. And I find the tumor is literally sitting on the bone. This is called paraosteal and it has got a good prognosis. Paraosteal osteosarcoma. You will be asked what are the variants of osteosarcoma. And in any question, you people must write the gross types, microscopy, and radiology. This is the conventional or the classical osteosarcoma where there is hemorrhage and necrosis arising in the medulla propria. This is another variant where there will be large vascular spaces and it is called telangiectatic. So these are the gross variants of osteosarcoma. Microscopically, we had mentioned one is the classical, in which I can find osteogenic, chondrogenic, or fibrogenic differentiation. Differentiation means resembling the tissue of origin. And in all, I must see the tumor osteoid. The variants will be telangiectatic and dedifferentiated, which are relatively rare. Microscopic picture, another one that will be fetching us marks, a little difficult for the students, but let us see if we can follow. See, I am finding long, pale, ribbon-like areas which are interconnected. This is the tumor osteoid. The bone being laid down by the tumor cells. These yellow marks mark to the tumor osteoid. And here I find clusters of dark cells which are pleomorphic, having a dark nucleus, and we call them anaplastic, very angry looking cells. So this is there throughout. So tumor osteoid, anaplastic tumor cells. And here there is a large cell. Maybe here also there is another large cell. These are the tumor giant cells with about 4 to 6 nuclei. So if you are not convinced, please see this. This is a normal bony tissue in which there is a bony trabeculae. These are the osteoblasts. They lay down bone and get mature into osteocytes. So bony trabeculae. This is a normal osteoclast that can be seen. It is only for recollection that we are seeing it. Compare it with this. I am not finding the osteocytes. And the bone formation is highly irregular. And the tumor cells are also anaplastic and crowded. Look at the difference between this and this. So this is an osteogenic sarcoma and this is a normal bone. Radiological appearance is extremely important. In this one, I am finding that there is a lifting of the periosteum and there is perpendicular fibers that are being laid down. These are all bone. That is why I am able to see it on the X-ray. And these fibers are called the sunburst fibers or Sharpey's fibers, classical of osteogenic sarcoma. And the gold standard for osteosarcoma will be the Codman's triangle. This is the periosteum which is getting elevated as the tumor is coming outside. And this is called the Codman's triangle. In fact, Codman's triangle is more of a radiological diagnosis rather than a histological diagnosis. If you people find this difficult, kindly see this. So these are the Sharpey's fibers and this is a Codman's triangle. DT means draw this. LT means learn this. Secondary osteosarcoma we had seen earlier. It can occur beyond 50 years of age and there are certain predisposing conditions. Paget's disease of the bone. So here it is a skull in a Paget's patient and you find that the skull bones are getting widened. So it is getting widened and it's a typical picture of Paget's. Chronic osteomyelitis. This is a picture of an osteomyelitis. There is a dead bone or sequestrum and a surrounding new bone formation, involucrum. Fibrous dysplasia of bone. Like this, there will be a few conditions where you can get a secondary osteosarcoma. Primary osteosarcoma, secondary osteosarcoma. You people should mention these. We shall revise the osteosarcoma. Look at this one. A bone over here and the medulla is being almost replaced by the tumor and the tumor is breaking the cortex It is infiltrating into the surrounding tissue. The periosteum is being lifted here, and it is also going into the soft tissue, grayish white, and it is having areas of hemorrhage. Luckily, the epiphyseal plate is intact. Here also that looks like a infiltration. So this is a gross description of the tumor. And microscopically, one word that we will remember will be the tumor osteoid. Ribbon-like pale tumor tissue, osteoid tissue that is being laid down by the anaplastic tumor cells. There are certain other points. Let us please remember this. It can be extraskeletal also. Two sites, peritoneum and lung. Very, very, very rare. But if we can mention, we will be getting one additional mark. Spread lung bones. Always remember these organs. I used to say lung, liver, bone, LLB. But here, lung and bones. Two organs where there can be metastasis. And the mode of treatment will be amputation, surgical amputation, followed by chemotherapy and then radiotherapy. This will be the treatment. The summary of it, I will not read again. We have already seen certain things. Radiological findings are important. Extraskeletal, please do remember this, the variants, etc. All this will be fetching you marks. It always seems possible, rather impossible unless it is done. So kindly make things possible. Efkaristo. Gracias, Tibi.